Let's just hit one last thing. Hardcore politics to go out on this. Real Clear Politics just released they do an aggregate poll every week. And the numbers are, they're not great, actually. Harris at 49.2%, Trump 47.3%. So that's got Harris up by 1.9. Karol, let me start with you on this one. Should we pay attention to aggregate polls or even polls in general at this point? Because at the end of the day, we know this is really about 4 or 5 swing states.
I mean, should we? Sure, because why not see where the race is going? I would say that a lot of the polls that make it into these aggregates are not the best polls. Some of them are really weak. That's not to say that this isn't correct. This might actually be the picture of what's going on right now. But yes, in general, I don't think that the national polls have ever mattered. The state polls matter more than anything else. I think whoever wins Pennsylvania wins the election. Drew has been lamenting that California is a 60-40 state, but I saw some polls where Kamala is doing not as well nationally as she is actually in some of the state polls because California and New York have soured on her a little bit. So maybe there's hope. We'll see.
Right. And we saw evidence of that in the last New York gubernatorial election, which Hochul only won by about 450,000 votes. And that's after about 1 million people who are obviously mostly right-leaning leaving. Drew, can you make any sense of these numbers? I mean, the truth is, and I know we all live in our own bubble, but I really don't know anyone supporting Kamala Harris at this point. Like, I know people on TV, on MSNBC, but I don't know anyone. I know a lot of people that were Democrats 4 years ago that are not anymore. They're not the most enthusiastic Trump people necessarily, but I don't know anyone that's out there. Harris Walls, let's do this.
Young people. Yeah, I know a lot of young people and they're enthusiastic. And when you question them about policy, they just say, don't go there. Just stop. Do you want Trump? This kind of thing. They don't want to think about it. It's joy. What was the Kraft durch Freude? Kraft durch Freude was a very potent Nazi slogan. Strength through joy. Okay, here we are. And I'm not saying they're copying that. I'm saying that must be a technique that is propagandistic and it's being deployed and people are responding to it.
I'm glad you brought that up. Karol, this thing that they're doing at her rallies where they're making it seem like it's so joyful and Trump's rallies are so hateful. It's so actually the reverse of if you go to any of these things. When I have been to Trump rallies, and that was one of the things that turned me around on him when I went to a Beverly Hills, accidentally, I was just driving home from lunch. I went to a Beverly Hills Trump rally, probably around 2019, and I was blown away at the joy and happiness and the Latinos for Trump and gays for Trump and all that stuff. Maybe I shouldn't have been, but I was. But they're doing something very twisted to make it seem like it's all hate there and it's all love at their rallies. Meanwhile, there's not a lot of love coming out of progressives these days.
Yeah, it's bizarre. And the Kamala Harris comment during the debate, like, go to a Trump rally, see how terrible it is. The people that go all the time. They love it. It's like, following the Grateful Dead around the country or Fish or, one of those bands that people follow. People love going to his rallies. They feel a sense of unity. They have a good time. I totally get it. I actually have never been to one of his rallies. I've seen some on TV, but that's it. But it's a lot of the manufactured stuff. Like we talked about the fact that they covered up that Joe Biden was in such a bad place. All of it is the same thing to me. The joy stuff with her. Yesterday in the New York Times, they sent an email that I torture myself and read every morning. But they made this point that Kamala Harris has reversed herself and become much more serious on the border. And I tweeted about it and was like, where has she become more serious? What position has she changed? Because they've gotten to where they could say anything to get her across that finish line. They'll make up her positions if she hasn't actually said anything to contradict her past ones. And they're hoping that'll be enough. I think all of this is related. All of it is a lie.
Yeah, it's. I would just want to say that you brought up Carolla earlier. He's been predicting for many years now that the way this is all going to shake out is we're all going to be gravitating towards either safe spaces or octagons. And
right.
Michael Malice says the same thing. He's been predicting that the states are going to all fall apart, and he's predicting all kinds of things. But part of that is that same idea that certain states will be like Florida and certain states will be like California, and we'll all gravitate accordingly.